What's up, guys? Welcome back to part 2 of buying and owning the worst Corvette to have ever existed in Japan. Why I bought this thing? Well, I thought it was cool, but it's been nothing but headaches, which I guess parallels maybe owning a Skyline in the US. Last time I kind of walked you through the car of like a little bit of the ownership and whatever else, and since then it's broke again. So let's dive into why. Well, this sucks. We came to a gasoline stand just to fill it up, go for a drive, go to a Cume, and the whole thing leaks fuel now. So I guess we're gonna just have to trailer it somewhere. Cume to the rescue. Thank you, my friends. I don't know how many times this car has been on a lift now, but here we go again. So as you can see, we've towed the car back to the Cume. It's finally on a lift, so we can kind of see why the car is just pouring gasoline from underneath it when you fill it up. So when I picked up the car last time, I mean, this is like gonna be the 4th time that the tanks have been dropped. When I picked it up last time, the guy that did the repair work last time said, yeah, it's full, I topped it off, whatever else. Well, I hadn't driven it that much since then. That was a couple months ago, so I decided to fill it up all the way to full. And as soon as it went over like 80% or whatever, it just started pouring gasoline. So I suspect that what happened was that when these 2 tanks were reinstalled, you have your cross tubes here and here. I'm guessing that the O-rings on those weren't fitted or sealed properly, so when it went above the level in the fuel tank that it hit like the level where it would be in the cross tube, it started just pouring out. That's my assumption, because you can kind of see that there's some gas residue. And the process to take these tanks out is not fun, nor is it really easy. I'm not super mechanically inclined, hence why it's at a Cume, but there's a whole process to be had to take these out. Fender liners out, you have to unplug all this stuff, drain the fuel, take off the exhaust. I mean, if you're feeling frisky, you could take out the transmission as well, but drop the tanks, and then you can get access to the cross tube. So we'll see what it looks like once everything gets removed. And these are the O-rings in question, right? When you try and search these up, and I'll put the part number on screen, they come back as a transmission seal, but these are actually the gaskets for the cross tube. And for whatever reason, these are $90 each. So 90 bucks for these two, 90 bucks for these two, plus shipping to Japan and tax. So, I mean, it is what it is, but that's absurd. I mean, the goal is to get this car prepped and ready, aligned, and whatever else for August 16th. There's a track day that I want to go to, so hopefully we hit that mark. I mean, it's not a whole lot of work, but I'm just a dude, and Acume's not super familiar with working on American cars, so I wrote them up a whole guide, put it on my website, whatever else. I can translate to Japanese, plenty of pictures and video and whatever else. So hopefully we're able to knock this out in a couple days. All right, so a good chunk of time later, we have the gas tank out, and we're able to look at the cross tube and the seals inside. Take a look as to what's happening. Wow, there's all kinds of neat stuff inside the fuel tank. We got an actual screw that was in there. That shouldn't be broken. Classic bits. Interesting. Alright, so I'll check online and see if we can find new seals. That's where we end for the night. Alright, good morning. It's day 2. I made a huge discovery. So if you ever replace your cross tube on your Corvette, this is something that you absolutely have to know. So taking a look, these parts is what I was missing. There's 2 on one side and the other side had nothing. So as it sits, you should have a set of 4 paired with the black and the yellow, right? So it'll be 4 total. I was under the impression, because I didn't really have a reference, they've been missing since the beginning, that one side was just broken, right? So it was like a smaller version, the right was a smaller version of the left that had broken in half, but that's not the case at all. I'll put a diagram here so you can kind of see what it should look like. But having absolutely no reference point at the beginning of what it should have been, it was just installed incorrectly from where it came from, Osaka. So what we're gonna do now is, because these You can't actually buy these anywhere anymore. They're not in production. We're gonna take them to a 3D scanner and get them 3D scanned and 3D printed. All right, so it's been a couple days, but we picked these out and we had them 3D scanned. And now we have some test pieces. These are the originals that came out of the car, so I just have one single set. Luckily, we have these to scan and get some like CAD design. And these are the testers. So these are printed out of a non-peak material, but this is just solely for the purpose of checking fitment. So as is, I'll put a picture on screen because I didn't film, the actual test step, but everything looks good. So what we're gonna do is take these CAD design files and we will ship them off to a company that can make them out of a material that's not gonna melt in plastic. So that's the next step. All right, we're back. After some trial and error, for damn sure, we actually have some retaining rings. All right, so after a lot of back and forth of trying to figure out how to get these printed, there's actually a company out in the States called M2 Performance Engineering. So thank you again to Taylor and Michael for getting this sorted, but we have the retaining rings. These are printed in like a nylon material that is gasoline resistant. So these should be perfect. These are their kind of test pieces, so I think there might be, we'll have to kind of nudge these in to get them in and then figure out clearance, but overall this is rad. I'm super stoked. Finding a company in Japan to make these was more of a headache than I thought it would be, but the dudes out in the US came in clutch. I actually have to travel to the US, so I'll be gone for about 2 weeks, so the next clip will be in the future and hopefully the Corvette runs by then. So, all right, we're back in Japan and a quick little trip to Fujieda. The Corvette's actually done. All right, so while I was in the US, I had to pick up some shoes that are fitting for a Corvette owner. So I think I'm ready to drive this thing. All right, so quick detour. We had to pick up some Corvette parts from Part Shop Max, so we made our way to Fujieda. You can see here we got coilovers for the Corvette. And we're at Max, so Eisuke-san was nice enough to let us kind of walk in and check out what they have on display. Here Max, you can kind of see they got their workshop here, and they're working on an 8.6 as a kind of a demo car for the newer generation, because as cars get more expensive and there's less availability for turbo manual. Talking about just kind of building this as a showcase of what the newer generation can kind of drive and enjoy in Japan. So it's a truss-ready turbo kit, and then all of their suspension components. Look at that. That's super cool. Arigatou gozaimasu. Part Shop Max. I've been driving it around a couple days now and I've not had any issues. So again, shout out to M2 Engineering and the guys that were able to 3D print those parts, because everything's been solid since. Next on the list of things to do, coilovers. All right, good morning, it's the next day. We got everything kind of disassembled, so there we are. All snazzy looking, and then you can see right there, FDF Mini Mantis. All right, nice. Rear's installed as well. All right, front and rear coilovers installed, rad, great, but there's always something, right? So anyone that's lived over here in Japan knows that just about anything you do in Japan requires some form of paperwork. It doesn't really matter what it is or what field it is, and you just need paperwork for stuff. And the car industry is no exception. So there's shock in here. So anytime you make significant changes to the car, whether it be like, let's say you start with a automatic and you swap a manual, you swap in a different engine. So if it's like RB and you put it in a 1J or whatever else, you need what's called kozo henko, right? So which is just basically like a certification. You get paperwork, you get certified, you show your paperwork when you go to the shock-in place and they stamp your paperwork and boom, you get your plates for the next 2 years. Extended front brake lines installed. These are rad. It's actually kind of cool that we have, these are made by HEL, right? Or HEL. So you have parts made in England on an American car in Japan. All right, coilovers on the car, and after a quick test drive, everything seems to be good to go. I am having this issue now though, like at full lock, I assume the wheel's hitting something, so I assume it's the lower control arm, so I'll check that out. And then there's a slight, I don't know, noise or something coming from the passenger side wheel, so I think the coilover is hitting the upper control arm, or at least it's rubbing against it. So next on the agenda is an alignment. But outside of that, I think this is probably where the video ends. Next on the agenda, we're gonna do cooling, so it'll be oil cooler, full radiator, and then just going from there. There's an event this month in October, so you can tell from the time I first started filming this, it was like in August, and now we're in October. There's an event that I want to go to, so hopefully we hit that. It's just a matter of finding shop time and whatever else, because you know, I don't have a place to work on it all by my own. Anyways, thanks for watching. Tune in for the next one, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.